Hello everyone. Today I will tell you a story. The story is titled Quirky's Workout Session with a Ball of Yarn and an Adorably Sweet Failure. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you appreciate me. You can skip this if you don't oppose. Like this video. Thank you very much. The story begins as follows. Every morning in our small, sunlit home begins in almost the same way. Light slips through the curtains, dust dances quietly in the air, and somewhere on the floor, Quirky stretches his little body like a professional athlete preparing for the most important training session of his life. At least, that's how he seems to see it. On this particular morning, Quirky had a new goal. I noticed it the moment I stepped into the living room. In the middle of the floor lay a forgotten ball of gray yarn, left behind from a half-finished scarf I had abandoned weeks ago. Quirky stood over it, paws planted firmly, head tilted slightly to the side. His eyes were serious, focused, determined. This was not the look of a dog about to play. This was the look of a dog about to train. He sniffed the yarn once, then twice. Then he lifted one paw carefully, as if testing the weight of an invisible dumbbell. Slowly, ceremoniously, he placed his paw on top of the yarn. It rolled away immediately. Quirky blinked. He took a step forward, then another, following the yarn as it escaped him like a disobedient piece of gym equipment. He nudged it with his nose. It spun. He hopped backward in surprise, ears flopping dramatically. I could almost hear him thinking, "This is harder than it looks." With renewed confidence, Quirky lowered his chest to the floor and attempted what could only be described as a push-up. His front legs bent, his nose nearly touched the yarn, and then, plop, his belly landed flat on the ground. He stayed there for a moment, unmoving, as if pretending this was all part of the plan. I sat on the couch, coffee in hand, watching in silence. There was no rush, no schedule, just a dog, a ball of yarn, and a very personal mission to become stronger, faster, and perhaps a little more impressive in his own eyes. Quirky rolled onto his side and accidentally tangled one paw in the yarn. He kicked gently, trying to free himself, but only made the situation worse. Soon, the yarn wrapped loosely around his leg, trailing behind him like a badge of honor, or evidence of a very early failure. He stood up proudly anyway, tail wagging, head held high. Quirky began walking around the room with the yarn dragging after him. Each step looked intentional, as if this was now a resistance exercise. He glanced at me, eyes bright, clearly waiting for approval. "Well done," I said softly. His tail wagged harder. That was enough motivation for him to continue. This workout session was just getting started. As the morning went on, Quirky's training became more creative and more chaotic. The yarn, once a neat little ball, had now lost all sense of shape or purpose. It stretched across the living room like a thin gray road connecting moments of effort and confusion. Quirky attempted a jump. He backed up a few steps, stared at the yarn intensely, and then leaped forward with all the courage his small body could gather. His paws landed on the string, not the ball, causing it to slide under him. He skidded slightly and landed in a clumsy heap. No injury, just dignity lost. He sat up immediately and looked around, checking if anyone had witnessed the fall. When his eyes met mine, I smiled gently. Quirky blinked, then wagged his tail again, reassured that this failure was safe, acceptable, even welcome. Encouraged, he tried something new. He grabbed the yarn in his mouth and began pulling it backward, walking in slow, careful steps. His legs trembled slightly with effort, and his ears bounced with each step. Halfway across the room, the yarn slipped from his mouth, snapping back toward the ball. Quirky froze. He stared at it, clearly offended. Then, with a small huff, he barked at the yarn, once. The yarn did not respond. This, apparently, was unacceptable behavior from workout equipment. He barked again, louder this time, and pounced. The yarn tangled around his front legs, and for a moment, Quirky looked like a tiny statue of confusion and determination. He twisted left, then right, then finally toppled onto his back. Lying there, belly up, paws in the air, Quirky paused. Something changed. Instead of immediately struggling to stand, he relaxed. His tail swished slowly against the floor. He began chewing lightly on the yarn, not as an opponent, but as a companion. The intense workout had quietly transformed into play. Watching him, I realized something simple and beautiful. Corky didn't separate effort from joy, failure from fun, training from play. Everything flowed together naturally, without judgment. After a few minutes, he freed himself and sat beside me, panting lightly. His eyes were soft now, the serious athlete replaced by a happy dog enjoying the warmth of the room and the comfort of presence. I reached down and gently stroked his head. He leaned into my hand, closing his eyes. The yarn lay forgotten nearby, no longer a challenge, no longer a goal. Just an object that had helped create a morning full of movement, laughter, and connection. Sometimes, the most meaningful moments don't come from success, but from the way we fail gently and keep going anyway. Corky's adorable workout with a ball of yarn may seem small and silly, but it quietly reflects something deeply important about how we live today. In a world where success is often measured by speed, results, and perfection, Corky reminds us that effort itself already has value. He didn't give up when he slipped, got tangled, or failed to train properly. Instead, he adjusted, laughed in his own way, and turned struggle into play. From Corky, we can learn to be kinder to ourselves. When things don't go as planned, we don't always need to push harder or criticize ourselves. Sometimes, we need to pause, breathe, and find joy in the process. Progress doesn't have to look impressive to be meaningful. This story also highlights the beautiful relationship between humans and animals. Animals live fully in the present. They don't carry shame about mistakes or fear of judgment. By sharing our daily lives with them, watching, caring, and learning, we become calmer, more patient, and more compassionate. In today's busy life, let us move a little slower, fail a little softer, and love a little more deeply. Like Corky, may we find happiness not in being perfect, but in simply trying, with heart.